Welcome back to the fifth episode of Colne FC to Glory. Now, we're currently in the Enterprise North South League. And to start the episode this time round, we've got the club vision and expectations meeting. Let's have a look at what they're going to do or expect from us this time round. Straight away, as expected, they want us to work within the wage budget. Pretty standard when we don't have a massive income. They want us to play attacking football, possession based football, entertaining football, and high tempo pressing football. Again, that seems pretty standard from the previous seasons. Having a look at the 5 year plan then, 29-30, look to build on promotion to the Enterprise National, same for the season after that, and the season after that. I think that's pretty straightforward to accept. And then, as we see here, it says the stadium expansion plans have now been announced. It says the board have announced plans to increase the standing area within the ground to hold a further 500 supporters. The plan work cost them an estimated 55k. It has to be carried out in order to comply with the league requirements. That seems very similar to the last season, where we actually ended up playing at Accrington Stanley's ground at the WAM Stadium. Additional funding for this project has been secured with a £28,000 grant from the authorities. It's expected these works will take around 2 months to complete, a lot quicker than last time round when it took us the majority of the season. And the interesting thing here is that we're actually increasing the overall max attendance for the games, which will in turn help to improve our overall turnover. And when we look here, it looks like Colne are now offering me a new contract. Let's just have a look at some of the negotiations in here, see what we might be able to do. Well, for a strange reason, we're still actually getting a zero wage. Now, I think it's about time we try and ask for a wage, but for some reason, maybe it's the mod, we can't actually ask for any money. So the bottom two clauses aren't really of any use to us. So let's just finalise the deal. It's a 3 year deal on a free. And then when we look at the next thing here, it said the club playing in the Enterprise North South, the board have decided to make the step up and we are now fully professional. All staff and players will be required to move on to full-time contracts in the near future. And then it also says there that the Colne board has increased the number of staff that we're able to hire. All this then points towards we might be able to get more players in because we're now playing full-time. We're not part-time training anymore. But also with that, the expenses will increase somewhat. So I think we'll need to still get further in the cups, get that overall balance up to be able to start paying for improvements. Now, this might mean in the end that we're actually not able to progress in terms of league. But if we can at least build the solid foundation and move up every other season potentially, that's what we should be doing. It's pointless going gung ho if we can't maintain it. And then when we look here, it says the club will not be facing an additional tax bill in the financial year based on the financial records of the previous 12 months. So that will actually take for once. And then here it says Colne have announced the following two new sponsorships. A main kit sponsor, estimated to be worth just 7.25 per year. The previous deal was worth 4.4. So it's over a 50% increase there. We've also got an additional new kit sponsor. The previous sponsorship was around 1.7. It's now going to be 3.7. So overall, the amount of new sponsorship money received is going to be around 11,000 compared to the 6 previously. So again, an over 50% increase. Then when we look at the changes to the stadium ticket prices, the promotion to the Enterprise North South from the Northern Premier League Premier Division ticket prices have gone up. Average ticket price is now £13, which is an 8% increase, and season ticket prices are now £132, which is a 3% increase. I'm going to ignore the next line because that seems to be what it tells us every season, and again I think that might be related to the mod. And then when we look at the next message thereafter, it says we've now been allocated a standard scouting budget of 20,000 for the season. This we will probably have to increase to try and get some decent players in, just so we can keep scouting. We might find some golden stars out there for cut price deals. And now on straight away when we look at the scouting, we've got Gabriel Biancheri, who's actually Welsh. He's a 22-year-old forward. He's got a current ability, which is a 3.5 star, which is actually good for the league above us, and he's got a potential of actually being a good Sky Bet League 1 player. And then when you look in the bottom right, he's actually above Marley Wilson, who is our strongest at the moment. He might be worth having a punt on, considering that he's worth around £2,000. Now, the wage might start to become an issue because that's well and truly above who we pay now. Now, a lot of our players will need to move to full-time contracts too, so we'll have to bear this in mind and be careful we don't overcommit ourselves. And the good thing when looking at Gabriel, it looks like he can actually play as the winger on either side too. and he's had some limited experience in the attacking midfield. And then for this season, then when we're talking about staff, looks like we've got an increase to our coaching capacity for the senior squad from 6 to 7. And then we can actually have a sports scientist where we've not had one previously. The under 18 squad staff, however, has actually decreased by 1. And similar to the senior squad, we can have a sports scientist for those too. Just looking at the offer that we've just tabled for Gabriel, we've actually offered 875, I believe, but his value's at 2,000. Now he's 22, so he fits the profile of the player that we need to look for. The ability is decent. So then what we need to do here then is actually look to see what we're going to offer him in terms of expectation on playing times, and then what the wage could look like. Now, given the potential and the ability, I think it's fair to say he's going to be an important player for us. So let's finalise that. Now, this sort of stuff is where I and ah a little bit, whether I add bonuses and clauses or whether I just simply try and keep the wage down as much as possible. Sometimes, granted, it needs some bonuses in there, but we need to try and work this to our favour. Now, the 1-year deal, I think that's all we can offer at this point. And what I'm going to try and get rid of is I'm going to try and get rid of some of these unused subs fees, the appearance fees, because all they do is hurt our bottom line. But when I do that, his wage now wants to be $9.75. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep trying to tickle that down a little bit from where it is. So 920, 925, 825 is acceptable, but it doesn't mean we'll get him. So we'll finalise it anyway, and if we get information on other clubs needing him, we might have to increase our standing and see where we are. And then when we look at some of our other players and where we are, there's a couple down at the bottom end that I think we'll actually end up getting rid of or just release. Granted, it's a little bit hurtful the fact that Rice Bowen will be one of them to go, considering he's been with us from pretty much the start. Failing that, we will try and push him out on a transfer or possibly a loan, considering he's still got some value in him. What we are going to do, though, is we are going to look at our star players and then just see about improving their contracts somewhat, but trying to keep the wage down as much as we can. You can see a little bit further down that the likes of Freddie Best will not be getting that sort of money, that's for sure. And if needs be, we will move them on, because he's actually getting paid more than the top 2 players in terms of our ability. Okay, so when we're about to start playing our first games in the Enterprise North, and when looking then at our friendlies, you can see it was quite a rough running, albeit towards the end, I'd actually arranged some fixtures with the teams that are very local to us and who we were once in the same league as. We played some big teams in this. We played Hibernian, we played Rangers, we played Sheffield United, Stoke, Watford, Blackburn, and actually we beat Stoke 2-1 at home. But I still think it highlights where we are. Turning to our transfer activity then and the history. So this time round, before we've started the league, we've actually had 9 players in and we've had 7 players out. We've got, from the right, you can see we've got 3 players on loan. We've got Diego from Portsmouth, who primarily plays attacking mid, but can play mostly anywhere up front, from wingers all the way through to striker. So he's currently a 3.5 star with a potential of a 5, and he's currently getting £625 a week. Not too much, really. And then we've got Alexander Ivanov, who's on loan as well from Reading. So he's a 2.5, but with a potential of 4.5, and he plays as a winger. Now, it might be that somewhere down the line we actually terminate this loan if we end up seeing someone who's better that we can get in on a permanent deal. He's currently getting paid more than Diego at £800 a week. And then we've got Antoine Pressman from Sheffield Wednesday. Again, he's on loan. He's a 3-star with a potential of 5, getting paid £550 a week, and he plays as a centre-back, but can also play as a right-back too. Then we've got Phil Miller, who we actually paid $6.75 for, from Hayes and Yedding. Now, Phil is a 2-star, but potential of a 4.5. And the fact that he's 19, we want to try and get him to develop as quick as possible. Now, he's just slightly behind where the rest of the team are, but he's someone that can potentially surpass them. And he's getting paid £440 a week and play anywhere from midfield, attacking mid, and on the right wing. Then we've got Charlie Holt. Again, he's relatively young, he's 20. He's getting paid $650 a week, and he primarily plays in centre mid, but can play as a defensive midfielder if we needed him to. But our system, we currently don't have this role. He's a 2-star potential 4. He was a little under than where the rest of them might be, and he might just about get where the rest of the team should end up. Then we've got Chris Jones, who's 18, and he can play anywhere down the left-hand side. Now, Chris is on £750 a week. He's 2.5-star current. He's got a potential of 4.5. And then when we look there, he's actually come from the Man United Academy. And then we've got Kai Crampton, who we got from Huddersfield. Kai is a 4.5-star with a potential of 5, and he currently plays as our goalkeeper, and he'll be our prime choice throughout the season. He's currently getting £525 a week, but I would imagine before too long he'll probably want an improved contract. And then when we look at where he's played and who he's played for, well, he actually started from the Bournemouth Academy before going to Huddersfield and then joining us at Colne. And then we've got Craig Williams, who we paid 8.25 for. And Craig is currently our out-and-out striker, although we are trying to teach him the winger positions too, because he's very strong on either foot, so he could potentially play on either side if we needed him to. He's currently got a 3.5 with a potential of 4.5. And when you look at it, he's actually come from a relatively unknown. He's come from Loughborough students to Bradford and then to ourselves. And then we've got Jack Armour. Now, Jack's a little bit older than the rest of the players that we tend to go for, as he's 28. He's getting paid $750 a week. He's got a potential, as current and potential, of 3 stars. So it's unlikely he's going to improve much further. And then when we look where he originally came from, well, he started at Preston, went to Lancaster, Carlisle, Burton Albion, Newport County, Wraith Rovers, and then to ourselves. What does that do to the league early on then? Well, it looks like the top 3 teams actually scored 3 goals. Ourselves and Sudbury were the ones to actually concede, which is where we're lower down. So I'll continue playing some more of these games. I'll come back with maybe 1 or 2 more, and we'll see where we get to from there. Possibly picking up a couple of cup fixtures too, just because they're the more exciting. They're the things that are going to get us the money. See United in the 3rd qualifying round. This is where it'll start to get interesting. We're about to play in the Emirates FA Cup against Swindon Town. Now, this is the 2nd round proper of the Cup. I'm totally honest, I'm not sure we're going to win this. But let's see what our team can do. This is how we're currently going to line up. We've got Grant in goal, with White on the left, Pressman in the centre, Wilson as a centre-back, Armour on the left, Holt, Foster through the midfield, Patson, Powell, Yegor, and Ivanov in the advanced midfield sections of the pitch. And then we've got Williams up front. Now, Pressman has been injured and he's just coming back from injury, hence why his sharpness isn't too good. Holt's been subbed in and out a few times, but Ivanov has also then come back from injuries too, which is why his sharpness is also down. So actually what I'll just do there then is actually swap Ivanov to Biancheri, and if we need to later on, we will put Ivanov in, purely because he's some way short of full fitness. Let's see what we can do. Swindon Town are doing a 4-2-3-1. They've got 2 defensive midfielders by the looks of things. We've got 2 standing midfielders, and then we've got an attacking. We're playing in white today as we're their away team. Early on, Swindon with the ball. Looks like we've already got a yellow card on one of our players, which isn't great. And that's exactly who he's running against now, I think. But there we have it. 1-0 down within 5 minutes. Now, early on, it does look like we're losing the possession battle, and it does look like we're struggling to try and get some shots in. Now, this is purely because the actual opposition is far better than what we are. So I think actually being on a positive mindset at this point is actually the wrong thing we should do. We should now, I think, try and run and be cautious. So we've got ourselves a highlight here. Biancheri to Foster. Foster just clips it out to Patson Powell, who's going to run down the line probably. Nope, there's a pass we've seen before. Is he onside? Yes, he is. 1-1. Quite lucky again there, but we'll take it. As you can see, Diego passes back to Patson Powell, who tries to loft one to the back post to Williams. He then gets the header back across to Biancheri before Williams then puts the ball in. We'd expect him to do. Halfway through the first half then, we're just going to remove the get stuck in on this because we're picking up yellow cards pretty early. We've now got 3 yellow cards. Just when I started to say that, we picked up another one. Patson Powell there letting Copley through. This is going to be 2-0 or 2-1, I think. Very lucky with that. And it looks like they might have an injury as well. So, Swindon Town with the corner then. They play it short. Cross comes in. Shot comes in. Saved by Grant for another corner. I was hoping we're going to be able to make that on a break then. So Colwell with the corner again. Floats it in this time. Header goes over the bar. Goal kick. We've just encouraged our team there just a little bit, just to see what that does in terms of their morale. Half time and we're at 1-1. You can clearly see that we aren't fully up to scratch with Swindon Town at this point. We've got 32% of possession, 3 shots rather, 2 on target. And we're actually doing pretty well because they should nearly have had 2 goals scored at this point. We haven't had a single clear-cut chance. We've had a single corner. Pass completion isn't too great, and we've actually not managed to cross successfully once. 3 yellow cards, 6 fouls to no fouls for them, and no yellow cards. So we just need to try and shape this up a little bit now. So we are going to tell them to keep working. And again, straight away, it looks like Armour and Alfie White we might have to change. But we'll see where they get to start. Fantastic cross there from Old to Catsby. And that makes it 2-1 in the dying moments of the game. So full time then. Colne 2, Swindon Town 1. We progress into the next round. And when you look at that match momentum graph, it looks like we should have been absolutely destroyed in that. But instead, we actually won. Just proves anything can happen. Now this could be the real test. Lincoln City versus Colne in the FA Cup 3rd round. Now, Lincoln City are currently in League One. That means above us we've got the National League. We've then got League Two. We've then got League One. And it does look like they might actually have been struggling a little bit in League One because they're currently in 17th position, just outside of relegation. And they're only 2 points off being in relegation. So this might be possible to have a bit of an upset again. Now, currently, this is what it looks like we're lining up as. Can't use Crampton, our keeper, because he's expected to be out for a number of weeks still. So Grant has to come in for him. And this is the rest of the team then. They are mostly 3 stars, which isn't bad for where we are. But again, I think if we manage to get as far as being promoted, some of these guys will likely go back. I mean, for sure, Pressman, Diego and Ivanov will certainly be ones that will need to go because we can't afford them. So let's go to the match. Let's just tell them that they did really well last time against opposition that should have beat us. You can see that there's not a lot of greens within the form for the last few games, so it could be a little bit difficult. So Lincoln play a 4-2-3-1, 2 defensive midfielders, whereas we play standard midfielders in the 4-2-3-1. And the mentality this time round is going to be balanced. So straight away then, Lincoln are on the attack on the right hand. Pass the ball across, we just managed to cut out that. That was going to be an easy tapping otherwise, and we'd have conceded within the first minute. Their corner must have come to nothing because we're now skipping through. And early on, we are yet to have a single shot or a shot on target. We've had just a single corner. Well, Patters and Powell's now got the ball. We might be catching a little bit on the break here, but we've just stopped the play. We haven't played the ball in front. Nice step over there to get past the man. Diego now has the ball, plays it through to Ivanov. Ivanov, 1-0 Colne. Very unexpected. Badly worked ball. So let's get the game back underway now then. Short highlight with Lincoln with the ball. Holt manages to dispossess them. Patterson Powell's now running, having a look. Gets round his man, still driving in the box, has a shot. Saved by Maher. Mayer. Butchered that. Approaching the end of the first half then. Looks like we are starting to get a little bit more of a foothold in the game. We've got a plenty of shots and a decent amount on target. We're actually even on corners right now. And the possession battle's not far off either. The Holt gets the ball to Ivanov. Ivanov has a shot, just goes over the bar. And that will be the end of the first half, I'm sure. Goro gets past our man. Over to Savoury. Maher mistimes the challenge and then gives away a free kick. I'll be surprised if that's not a yellow card. I think he's got away with that one there. So a free kick then, right at the end of the first half for Lincoln. Not too far away either, so probably a good opportunity to cross. We survived to another day. And that's the end of the first half. On 1-0 against Lincoln. I'm just going to tell him that I'm happy with the shots on target. Again, similar situation. I think Caden Wilson needs some fitness work doing because his stamina and condition always seems to be below the rest. So we'll look at doing that before too long. But for now, we'll continue. And as it gets to about the hour mark, we'll look to replace him. So we've got a highlight here for Colne. Pats and power with the ball. Now we've seen this before. Just waiting for some help. Gets past one man. Gets past the second. Waiting for a pass. Wait for a shot instead. Pretty sure he should have passed at that point. We could have been 2-0. But one to Colne, and it comes nothing. We are just going to discourage some long shots now at this point. Got a free kick here. Foster to take it. Loops the ball over to the back post towards Williams, but gets headed away. Yeah, go with the ball, goes for a shot. Shouldn't have bothered with that. Would not have bothered to have a shot. So we'll see where the end of this comes from. End of this highlight, and then we'll look to make some changes. Sooner rather than later. Very dangerous for Lincoln now. Brent gets it. Okay, so let's look to try and change some guys around now. We'll bring Old in. Bring Fry in. Jones in. Miller. We'll change Patterson Powell too. So we've got another highlight here for Lincoln. Lincoln play up to the back. Fry manages to head away. Trowell as far as Brierley. Brierley to Robertson. Boro gets the ball. Is he going to pass it across? Probably. 1-1. That was very unfortunate, that. Very unfortunate. And a very dangerous free kick here for Lincoln. This could be a shot. Oh, instead it's floated. Heads it as far as Ivanhoe. We've actually just given a penalty away. What? How have we given a penalty away there? No way. This will be a goal. Oh, and Grant saves it. Keeps us in the game. 1-1 still. We should never have been giving that away. Never. Oh, it's extra time then. And again, we have to work out that these are actually 3 leagues above us. So I am going to say we're actually doing very well, and we just need to keep it going. Grant's obviously got a decent rating, but then Yego's also got a very good rating too. Get to... Fine then. So Catsby's now got the ball. Is he going to cross it? Or is he going to cut it back in? Passes it to Yego. Yego back to Catsby. Catsby puts it over towards Ivanov. Ivanov just about gets the ball. Passes it through to Miller. Miller back to Ivanov. Ivanov takes a shot and just misses it. I think we needed a poacher at that point just to be able to just tap the ball in. Well, end of the first half of extra time. Let's get through to the second half now then. I don't want to push us to attacking, but I've just said we'll move to a positive mindset. Let's just see what we can get. We are winning the possession battle so far as well. Old gets the ball, Catsby, back to Old, back to Catsby, some quick 1-2s here. Yegvo with the ball, through to Catsby. Catsby needs to pass it now. Gansheri. The flag stays down, 2-1 Colne. So now then, let's drop this back to very defensive. We've got just over 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes now to make this last. We're absolutely going to proceed with those changes to put it into defensive. That was a fantastically worked goal. And there you have it. Colne beat Lincoln away 2-1. And that, I have to say it again, that's a team that's 3 leagues above us. So absolutely, we will say that's everyone that wrote us off backtracking. What a performance, and look at the reaction too. You can't ask for more than that. Let's see then what this means to us. Should bring a nice healthy amount of money in, and it does. See there, £119,000 in. Which again, given the situation of where we are and we don't have much revenue base, that is absolutely key to our survival in the league and keeping the players that we have. Now puts our finances at 342,000. Well, this is going to be the big one. Following our last win on the FA Cup in the 3rd round, I actually played the 4th round and we won at home in extra time 2-1 against Preston North End. Now, then we were drawn against a current Premier League team. So we're actually at home to Bournemouth, and this is likely where we will bow out. So going for the team, we're going to put out our strongest team because that's absolutely what we should be doing. We're not going to say balanced. We're actually going to push it, if not defensive, we're going to push it on cautious. Because I think we're going to be outclassed left, right and centre. So let's see what they've got for us. Let's see. So there's our familiar 4-2-3-1, which we've been sticking with. And it also looks like Bournemouth are playing the exact same in a 4-2-3-1. But again, where we've got 2 centre mids, they've got 2 defensive mids. But we have kick-off then. Let's see how this goes. See how bad this can really be. We're 4 minutes in and Bournemouth have got a highlight. A long throw. Clinical finishing. Just what I thought might end up being the case in this game. Alex Scott with the opener then. 1-0 Bournemouth. Maybe not. We've actually had it ruled out. We're still at 0-0. We've been saved by the offside flag there. So, we've got a highlight here. Armour's got the ball for a throw-in. 15 minutes in. Ivanov gets it. Comes inside. Williams. Diego with a header. Doesn't particularly get anything out of that. The highlight comes to a close. Patson Powell picking up this on the next highlight. Pressman over to Armour. Armour plays it forward for Ivanov. Ivanov's driving with the ball now. Turns back for some support to Miller. Miller plays it to Yegor. Ivanov picks it up again. Crosses it through to Williams. Williams one-on-one. He has more time than he thinks and he sails it over the bar. Highlight here. I think we're going to get caught on the break while looking at this. Diakite got the ball on the right-hand side. He's driving. Armour cannot keep up with him. Comes inside the box. Thuds it out to Tavernier. Tavernier with a volley. Just misses. But we are just going to say they are doing pretty well, considering we've got through the first half. Or most of the first half at this stage. We are beginning to lose the possession battle a little bit more than we did on the early part of the first half. But again, this is expected. It's a Premier League opposition. The first half then, possession pretty much even. They've had a few more shots than we have, but we've got the same on target. You see from the match momentum, it tale of two halves in the first half. Excuse the pun there. Expected goals, well, we're actually slightly on top. Passes completed slightly worse than Bournemouth. Crosses completed less than 10%. We have been fouling a bit more. We've got a yellow card to our name too. We're running less than Bournemouth too. Our average rating is slightly behind. But again, we're just going to say we're happy with it so far. Because again, we have no option. We're just subbing White out there because he's actually his condition is fairly terrible. And it's only going to get worse throughout this second half. I don't think he could manage the full game. So we're just going to swap him at half time there. So Bournemouth have the kick-off then for the second half. Highlight comes to nothing there. Diego looks like he's suffering now a little bit. We're just going to sub in with Biancheri. Bournemouth with a corner then. Corner's played over to the back post. Headed away. Tavernier's got it. Tavernier's going to look to cross this ball in. Plays it off to Diakite. Relays it to long shot there, and I can't believe the keeper can't catch it from there. Maybe it's the number of players that just stopped him being able to see. Another highlight then. Bournemouth playing some quick 1-2s here as they drive. No one's picking him up. Armour's just gone out to him, but the cross has already been taken. Evan Nielsen headers it over the bar. We're just going to drop the mentality there now to defensive. Looks like we could do with 1 or 2 more players. Owen's going to come on there for Williams. It's going to be a goal, the first goal of the game. Evan Nielsen 1-on-1 with the keeper. Slots it into the corner. 1-0 Bournemouth, and I think this is where we're going to bow out of the game. That piece here again for Bournemouth. Goes for the shot and just puts it onto the roof. We've got a highlight here. We've actually got the ball and we've just given it away for a 1-on-1, and Evan Nielsen puts it wide. We've just been saved of our blushes there, I think. Pressman with the ball now then, over to Armour. Armour to Ivanov gets dispossessed, and Bournemouth are on their counter. Yuri Alberto now drives round Armour. He's going to look for a cross. One makes it as far as our defender. Foster with the ball. As he clears it forward. A little bit wasteful really, but nothing else he can particularly do. Is this finally going to be the 1-1? Yep, and there we have it, 76th minute in. Just been caught by some clever play from Bournemouth. Leaving the ball out for Melia, who just slots it to the keeper's near post. Not much more to do from this point. And as expected, this is where we're going to bow out of the FA Cup, which isn't bad considering this is the 5th round and we're against a Premier League opposition. Got nothing else to lose at this point now, so we're just going to put it on very attacking and get there, I think. Maurice Bowen and Alexander Ivanov with a well-worked goal there. Quick 1-2s. Gonna drop that back again then. Back to defensive. I did not expect us to be drawing at this stage. Next highlight then, we've got it from a throw-in. Armour, Pressman. Gives it away sloppily again. I think it's a bit of the theme. He's onside, is Scott, and he puts it wide. He just drags it on his shot. We got away with one there again. And at this stage, we're actually going to tell them to try and waste some time, unless they, of course, score here, and it's pointless. So we're into the 89th minute now. We don't even win the ball from the goal kick, which is very, very sloppy. Fantastic save from Crampton there. Kept us in the game. That should never have been allowed to happen. Bournemouth with a corner. Puts it over to the back post again. Common theme. Crampton just saves it before it goes in, and we clear it as far as Tomachu. Long shot. Wow. Nothing you can do about that. Crampton, you could argue he could do better, but it's absolutely rifled into the top corner. And this is the end of the game. 6 minutes added then. Already through half of that. 2/3 of the way through. Game over. Bournemouth win 2-1. And that's exactly what we're going to say. We were the underdogs, and we did actually give it our best, actually managing to draw for a short while. So then when did we end the season? Well, 46 games played, 28 wins, 13 draws, 5 losses. We'd scored 97 goals, which is far more than anybody else, at least 10 more than Tanmouth in 4th. We've actually conceded 48, which is actually slightly more than a few of the teams around us. And as you can see from the form over the last 5 games, we were actually pretty lucky to be where we are, with just 3 points difference. And then let's have a look at finances then. Well, we've got 514,000, which isn't too bad. You can see obviously where we had a lot more money. We had the better part of $1 million, but we're now about half that. And then when we look at the actual budgets at the minute, now this is ready for the next season. We've been given 69,000 for a transfer budget and another 10,000 for the wage. We will likely swap these around just so then we can try and get someone that's actually proven now. And we're possibly able to get a player or two from the actual football league as we head into the national. I've been BenUnlocked. Subscribe if you want to see more as we take our journey into the Vanarama National. We're now just one step away from the Sky Bet football leagues. It's going to get very interesting from here on out.